As the athletic director, I am especially excited that one of this school's graduates has carried his passion for sports from his younger years here at the Point to his professional career, establishing himself as a respected coach and manager of several teams playing the great American and Sparrows Point pastime of baseball at both a collegiate and professional level. Mr. Kendall, will you please join us here? On behalf of the school administration and faculty, the student body, and the Alumni Association, we induct you, Mr. Gary Kendall, into the Sparrows Point High School Alumni Hall of Fame, recognizing you for exemplifying the highest ideals of Sparrows Point High School and achieving excellence in your profession and setting an example for generations of Pointers. You are hereby now and henceforward officially recognized as a member of a distinguished group, the Sparrows Point High School Alumni Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Mr. Kendall.
Before I get started, the band is a lot better than it was when I went to school. I don't know whether my hearing's getting bad, but it was outstanding. And you know, tonight, or just actually this morning, the general manager and the assistant general manager from the Bowie Bay Sox are here, and Brian Shalecross, Phil Rye, and thank you for taking your time, but I wanted to make mention, next year, opening day, I think we start out in Richmond, but I think we come home. I want to be brought out that way with our ball club, all right? With the band and everything, and maybe we can put that together, all right? You got that? All right, so, hey, thanks, first of all, a lot of thank yous. And I'm gonna make mention a lot today about mentoring, because in my profession, the people around you and the people that you had along the way is what makes you. So as I touch base with that, but I have a lot of people I want to thank. First of all, the Sparrows Point alumni, thank you so much for this wonderful honor. We were trying to put this together for a couple years, and you know, it's spring training and different things, our schedules didn't match up, but I really appreciate it. And thank you, David Taylor, for your persistence, and congratulations to Elmer Hall. Congratulations, Elmer. I'm not going to be able to talk as long as Elmer, though. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, I'm just, you know, I'm not going to be able to pull that off. But anyway, congratulations to the Sparrows Point soccer team, girls soccer team, right? I got home yesterday. I live on the Eastern Shore. I got home and I read you won your second consecutive state championship. Am I right? 1A? Am I right? Okay. Congratulations. It just proves that Sparrows Point's still on top. I know when I was here, baseball, football, we always were very competitive in every sport, and it's nice that keeps it going. Janice Saul, thank you for bringing all these wonderful people here. She's an educator, worked at the Rosedale Center. It's where our paths met, and she put a lot of people in this room today that I haven't seen in years. And I'm not going to get emotional today, but I really, really appreciate your effort, and my family, my friends, and people that traveled a long way to be here, and I really appreciate it. Okay, first of all, I grew up down in the Fort Howard Todd's Farm area, and probably got a lot of you out there that are my neighbors, my neighbors' parents. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about growing up in Todd's Farm. My mom and dad, I mean, I didn't have to go very far to have really good mentoring, and my mom and dad, and you know, I'm one of four, and we grew up in a nice small home down there at Todd's Farm, and we had a wonderful neighborhood. A lot of my neighbors are here to this day, and I think it was during the baby boom where you had tons of kids, and they were running around, and we all played together, baseball, football, it didn't matter, girl, boy, and it was just such a wonderful childhood. But my parents, you know, you read today about, you know, disciplinarian action against children, this and that, but the love that they gave us, and the just the support, the positiveness. I remember growing up as a child and just hearing my father and mother say to me all the time, you can be anything you want to be in life. You just got to put your mind to it and work hard. And what wonderful role models. And to my brothers and sisters, my parents were just the loves of my life. And you mean so much to me. And that's why I love to come back and visit. It's not just a wonderful town, but my parents still have their roots here. And they're just the best, and I can't be any more luckier. My brothers and sisters, you know, we grew up playing ball together, and, you know, we always had a belief in that you know, we all wanted to play ball, but when there wasn't a whole lot of other people to play ball with, we used to just go throw a ball off a wall down at Fort Howard School, and because that's where we played Little League, and there were many Pepper games in the backyard and throwing the ball around and just listening to the Oriole games on the radio, because not many of them were televised back then. But just having dreams and always wanting to achieve things in life. And I wouldn't have gone nearly as far in baseball if it wasn't for my brother Todd and Ronnie. And my sister Kathy was our first baseman. She used to catch all our throws. As I was turned loose in the Little League, I started out playing for Fort Howard. My first team in Fort Howard, we were 0-14. Never won a ball game. Terrible. And but you know what? It was a small rec council. I think you paid $2 to play baseball back then. You got a hat and a T-shirt or whatever. But each year, the same group of guys that I played ball with, we started to get better, and we got better and better coaches. And 3 coaches that I want to make mention of that I had that made a tremendous impact in my life were Ron Bradley, who's a neighbor, lives down on Shore Road. I played ball with his 2 kids, but he was a baseball teacher. He liked to teach. He broadened the horizons for a lot of young baseball players. Joe Hollifield. I hope Mr. Joe is here today. I see Joe all the time down at Bowie. You were a big impact in my life, and thank you. Thank you. And then Walter Griggs. And I believe David, his son's in this Hall of Fame here. He was drafted by the Orioles. But those 3 people really turned the love and the dedication that I had into the game and kind of channeled me in the right direction. As I started to grow as a baseball person, I met a gentleman who was a longshoreman, an ex-former minor league player. His name was Bill Nee. And Bill taught us whatever love you get out of something, put it back in. And we spent countless hours up at Patterson High School and Patterson Park playing ball from morning till night. And he wanted to see me so bad be a professional baseball player. But deep down inside, I think I always knew that I had a calling to teach and to coach. And I couldn't have a better man to look at than him, because he did it for free, and he did it with his heart in the right spot. He didn't ask for a dime to coach baseball. He just sponsored a team with his own vacation pay from down at Docks. And we used to really have a great time playing baseball in East Baltimore. And he taught me so much. He's passed away now, but I think of him all the time. I had a wonderful opportunity, because the parents I had, to get a chance to go to college. And now college is kind of like a normal thing, but back then, a lot of kids want to work after high school. But my parents wanted us to go get a college education. And it's funny how things turn out. Now, I'll touch on the way my life is now later on, but, you know, I had a pretty severe ankle break. Not that I would have been a big league player or anything, but it kind of steered me in a direction. I went to a junior college first, Community College of Baltimore, where I played 2 years. We were outstanding ball club there. A lot of pros signed out of there. That's back when they had January, June drafts, and played with a lot of good players. But I got an opportunity to play for a gentleman who's here today, who traveled up from Naples, Florida, with his wife, Dave and Billy Joust, and he's a major league coach with the Pittsburgh Pirates now, but he's been a major league coach for the Orioles, with the Red Sox. He's done everything in this game. And getting that opportunity, you know, when I was supposed to go to some other school, then all of a sudden Dave shows up, and he opens up his heart to me brings me down to North Carolina, Wilson, North Carolina. It was the best thing in the world that ever happened to me. The best thing in the world that ever happened to me was probably not getting an opportunity to play professional baseball, because I don't think I'd ever been a coach. I think I would have, because I see that sometimes in professional baseball, players play so long, they get married, have a kid, and they lose focus of that love, and they maybe walk away from the game bitter. By playing for this gentleman, Dave Joust, I walked away from the game on my own terms, and because of his leadership and how he managed, I used to try to emulate him, and because he was a great role model. It's unbelievable you're here. So anyway, he was big into getting me in the right direction, giving me advice. I wouldn't have graduated college if it wasn't for Dave Joust. I was a run-of-the-mill student. He showed me the direction to go in to get out of school, because I was a very mediocre student in this high school, which goes to show you that you can go to school, anybody here can go to college and go forward and go as far as you want. But you got to ask for help. That's the big thing. Dave was one of those people. And as I got into college, I learned a trick. Ask your educators, ask your teachers. You know, they want to embrace you. Give them something to embrace. They want to work for you. So if you have a problem in school, go after it. Talk to them. People are willing to help you. And that's how I got through school. And I have a degree, which I'm thankful for. As I got into professional baseball, it was actually kind of weird. You know, I was coaching for an amateur team called Johnny's Used Cars in Baltimore. They used to win national championships. They used to be Leone's back in the day, and I was coaching third base and throwing batting practice for them, which I got to be good at because Dave Joust was the best I've ever seen. And so I'm throwing for him, and Milwaukee Brewers, our manager of our team was a guy named Walter Youse, and he was a supervisor scout with the Brewers, Milwaukee Brewers. So he sent me out to Memorial Stadium in 1991 to get baseballs from Andy Etchebarren, who was, at that time, Andy Etchebarren was a coach with the Brewers. And he said, let Harry Dalton know, he'll be down in the clubhouse, he's the GM of the Brewers, let him know you can throw batting practice. So, you know, I didn't have any fear, and I just told Harry Dalton, you know, he was a local guy, he used to be with the Orioles back in the day, and he suited me up. Tom Trebelhorn was the manager, and I went out and I threw to Paul Molitor, Robin Yount, Greg Vaughn, Hall of Famers. And I remember the anxiety right before that I was going to do it, right before that time. I was a little nervous because I'd never seen so many white baseballs in all my life. We used to throw 8 rag baseballs behind the school. But when I was getting ready to throw, I remember what it was like to throw without an L screen. And those who are in baseball know what I'm talking about. No protector for the batting practice pitcher. A bad baseball, and probably I'm throwing to a bad hitter that you probably have to hit his bat. So if I can do that, throwing to these guys who can hit anything would be nothing. So it broke down all my anxieties and my nervousness. And then one thing led to another. I did it for the visiting clubs. Terry Crowley was a hitting coach at that time with the Twins. And go out there and Ken Herbick and Kirby Puckett and guys like that, and just a wonderful thing started to snowball. And then Roland Heeman at that time was the general manager of the Baltimore Orioles, and he called our house and asked me if I wanted a job the rest of the year. And later I went in and thanked him, and he offered me a job as a scout, and then things just started to take off. This game has been very, very good to me, and the game of baseball, and just like anything in life, they don't need us. You're going to have to go out in life, find your niche, find what you're interested in, and pursue it. And every day try to improve. Every day try to get better. I'm fortunate now, I'm in my 20th season, going into my 20th season. I'm going to manage the Bowie Bay Sox, which is a wonderful franchise. If you get an opportunity to ever drive down Route 50, come on down. We'd love to have you down there, and we'll put you on a pass list. But I would just like to say a couple things. Like who you are. I don't have a background. I interact every day with guys. Give you an example: B.J. Surhoff, former player; Mike Bordick, former player. Guys that are around me that have vast playing careers. Cal Ripken Jr., when I used to manage Aberdeen, would come in. Billy Ripken, Cal Ripken Sr. Baseball people's loaded with guys that have different backgrounds, and my background is very unique. And there was never once, not one day in my life, and this is because of how I was raised, that I ever wish I was anybody else but myself. And I remember sitting in the dugout in the '93 All-Star game, which I got a chance to throw in a home run derby, and I'm sitting there with the best players in the game. And I'm throwing to Ken Griffey Jr., and I'm throwing to Juan Gonzalez. Oh, these wonderful players. And, you know, the millions that they make. And I was glad that I was Gary Kendall from Sparrows Point, because God made us all very unique and very special. And I'm glad that I'm in my own skin. I like who I am. So like who you are, because everybody brings something. So bring what you bring when you go out there. Dedicate yourself. Dedicate yourself every day. You're not always going to have good days. There's days I foul up a ball game, I don't bring in the right guy, and of course I hear it from all the fans and everything. You hear it every day. But look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you're going to be better the next day. That's all I try to do, is be a better person. I have to do it in marriage, you know. I try to be a better husband each day. I make mistakes. I try to dedicate myself to be better. Leave the finances off to the side. I know in baseball, you're not going to get rich right away. Matter of fact, if you're in player development, you're probably not going to get rich. But you're going to be doing something you love. And you're going to make a living at it. And when you first embark in something in your career, don't worry so much about how much money you're making. It's all going to come back to you twofold. And the love that you're going to get out of it is going to be so much more valuable than those extra dollars, trust me. And the last thing I like to talk about is just persevering. You know, when I got into professional baseball, a gentleman told me that the next thing that's probably going to happen to you is you're going to get fired, because that happens in this game, you know, turnover. And I've been fortunate enough for the Orioles for 20 years, but I was with the Padres for 5. They did away with my area as a scout, so in a sense I was fired. And you have to persevere. Nobody's going to stand aside and hold your hand and not feel sorry for you. You got to pull yourself off the ground, and you got to be determined that there's something good going to happen around the corner. You have to really believe that. And that comes whether you're in baseball, whether you're in life. It could come with illness, you know. I mean, I used to walk down the street or drive down the street and see somebody that's down on their luck, somebody that don't have a home. And the difference between him and I is a bad break. It's a bad day, you know. Maybe an illness in his family. So things can change daily, but you have to persevere. You have to say to yourself, every day, I'm going to go out there and put my best foot forward and go after something. You can be anything you want to be in this life. I've been very fortunate to manage some good players. More recently, Jonathan Scope, Manny Machado, Nick Markakis in Aberdeen, Brian Mattis, Kevin Gosman, to name a few, and guys that I've had in rehab assignments. I was looking at a picture the other day when I got home from instructional league, or actually the Dominican Republic, and it had a picture. It was in a Bowie Baysock uniform, and Machado was playing third, Scope was playing second, Scope was playing short, and Brian Roberts was rehabbing with us, and Caleb Joseph, who I had played 7 years in the minor leagues, had him in Aberdeen. I was his first manager and got to the big leagues this year, talking about persevering. And he was in that picture. And I just pieced it all together that they were all big leaguers. And so it's nice. So it's been a wonderful opportunity so far. Hopefully there's more to come. And in closing, the last thing, and anybody out there that has any children can back me up, wife and kids. My wife, Showed my beautiful daughter Isabel and my beautiful wife Merlita. I never knew in baseball how valuable having that family was, to have that release. Because there's times that, you know, with your travel and they're picking up after you. As Billy Giles can probably tell you, they pack the family. They do all the hard work. They do all the hard work. We ride around in buses and might manage some teams and players, but they're the ones that raise your children. And she's the one at home a lot raising our daughter, beautiful daughter that we have. And I'm very fortunate to have my wife Merlita, and we're very, very blessed by God to have Isabel. And thank you, honey, for putting up with me. I'd like to thank everyone here for having me, and good luck to you and God bless.